What is up, everybody? It's me again. It's JT Dangerous, and I am back with my Week 4 NFL predictions. Now, in Week 3, I went 8-8, which is not too bad. I mean, I could have had a winning record if New Orleans would have won, but they kind of tanked as usual, getting blown out by the Falcons. So I'll take the 8-8. It's not too bad. So I'm hoping this week can get a little bit better, which I am really hoping it gets better. So let's get right into this. Starting with the Thursday night game, which is pitting the Miami Dolphins heading to Cincinnati to play Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Miami Dolphins did win against Cleveland in overtime, which surprisingly you gave Cleveland a chance, Miami. Really, you give Miami a chance, and they could have won that game but lost, but then Miami pulled it together. And, of course, Jordan Cameron will not be playing this game because he had a concussion, so he has been ruled out of this game. Then you have the Bengals, who did lose to the Denver Broncos, of course, at home, but, I mean, they did look good. And there is some good news if you're Cincinnati Bengals fans, that Tyler Eifert may be back this week. Maybe, and this is just a maybe. It's not double confirmed. It's a maybe. He may be ready for Thursday. So that could really help. That can really help the Bengals this season because, I mean, they have just Hill, they have Giovanni Bernard, and they have A.J. Green. I mean, they need a little bit more weapons, and Andy Dalton needs a little bit more weapons. In this matchup, I am going to take the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Miami Dolphins because I think Miami kind of almost blew it against Cleveland at home. At home. How do you almost lose at home to the Browns? So I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Miami Dolphins. And before I get to the next game, the week 4 buys are for the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. So you fantasy owners, if you have Green Bay Packer players or Philadelphia players, make sure you change them before this week. So that's just a heads up. Now the Sunday slate, and this does look like this is the earliest game this week, being it's 9:30 on 9:30 here in the West Coast and 6:30 on the East. And this does look like this game is going to be playing in London or somewhere outside of the United States with the Indianapolis Colts playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's at Jacksonville, so it's kind of a Jacksonville home game, but it's not. But they're playing at Jacksonville. So with the Colts, they did beat the Chargers this week. Again, I did say they were not. If they didn't win, I would have never picked them in this whole predictions again. So I will be continually picking Indianapolis in games this year. Then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who did lose to the Baltimore Ravens, which again they could have won, but again they fell apart in the fourth as usual. Now in this matchup, I am going to take the Indianapolis Colts to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now the next matchup in the AFC, the Buffalo Bills heading to Gillette Stadium to play my New England Patriots. Of course, the Buffalo Bills did beat Arizona this week, which kind of surprised me because Arizona kind of should have won that game, but they didn't. So I'll take that one of my 8 L's last week. And then you have the New England Patriots, who, of course, did beat Houston, so I had to take that L, but I hated picking against my team because that's the worst. When you pick against your team, when you pick against your team when you know they're your team and you got to pick them every week, and that really hurt me because that's the one thing I'm going to try not to do is pick against. I don't care if they're an underdog. I'm going to pick my team, and that's my Patriots and of course with my Seahawks, and of course with the Seahawks. If I pick against them, I'm going to hate regretting it. So, but with the Patriots, with Jacoby Brissett got it done. Of course, it's Belichick. Belichick can make water into wine if he wanted to. No offense, God, but he can make water. He can make water into beer if he could. I mean, he's a modern day miracle as coaching. And then of course, Jacoby Brissett got hurt with a right thumb injury, and then with Jimmy Garoppolo being hurt, Arthur String is Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman, our wide receiver, played quarterback in college, and I never knew that. So it's going to be interesting because it would be so cool to see Julian Edelman play quarterback. And this is the last week. This is the last game before they bring back the greatest, Tom Brady, back into the lineup in Week 5, which I cannot wait for. Now, in this matchup, Buffalo is a good team, but it's New England. This is, and I'm going to just say it right now. This is going to be straight up. The East is won by the Patriots this year. They're 3-0, and every other team is not even close to their record. I'm telling you right now, just give us the East title, because nobody expected Belichick to do what he did without Tom Brady, without Rob Ninkovich, without Rob Gronkowski, and he's already done it all. He's already 3-0, and he's already 3-0 right now. How can you pick against them? So I am going to pick the New England Patriots to beat the Buffalo Bills this week. Now, the next matchup, the Cleveland Browns heading to D.C. to play the Washington Redskins. Now, the Cleveland Browns did lose in overtime to the Miami Dolphins. Again, Cleveland coming back. They could have won, but their kicker shanked it. So, and the curse continues with the Browns, except for Cleveland teams. And I want to congratulate the Cleveland Indians for winning their division, which is congrats. And I hope you guys go far in the playoffs. No offense, but of course I'm a Red Sox fan, and our magic number is 1 to win the AL East. So keep losing teams in our division like the Yankees and the Rays and the Orioles. Lose tonight, we win the division. And we've had a great season, but I digress. This ain't a baseball prediction. This is football predictions. Cody Kessler did look really good with Cleveland. He did look good. For a rookie, he did pretty well. He made a few mistakes, but he did really well. So, got to give him some props. Then you have the Washington Redskins, who did win against the New York Giants, which, again, that's pretty big win in the NFC East. Now, in this matchup, I am going to take the Washington Redskins to beat the Cleveland Indians, because I think Washington has a little bit more of the weapons with Kirk Cousins and Matt Jones and Deshaun Jackson. They have a lot more weapons around them, unlike Cleveland, who has a lot of injuries. I mean, they still have Terrell Pryor as wide receiver. They still have Duke Johnson, Isaiah Crowell, of course, Cody Kessler. I would say Joe Hayden, they did say he was hurt, so if he's playing on defense, that's your best chance to win, Cleveland. But I am going to take the Washington Redskins to beat the Cleveland Browns. Now, the next matchup, the Tennessee Titans heading to Houston to play the Houston Texans. Now, the Tennessee Titans did lose to the Oakland Raiders, which, again, that is one of my favorites in the AFC West to win, the Oakland Raiders. And I'll get to that when we get to the Raiders game. Tennessee did look good, of course, but again, they didn't have Delaney Walker, which kind of hurts their team, because what other players do they have other than DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry? They don't have Delaney Walker playing. It's hard to win. And then you have the Houston Texans, who did take a goose egg on Thursday, which I know a lot of people who had Houston's defense kind of felt kind of felt like pissed off that, you had J.J. Watt, you had all this talent, but you couldn't get Jacoby Brissett on the ground, or he only got one. I would say I think I can remember Houston only got 1 point in fantasy in their defense, which is that's not good. That's like getting nothing. One fantasy point, 1.00 fantasy points for Houston on Thursday. So they're due for a huge win, a huge game against Tennessee, and what they have the lineup: DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller the fifth, Arian Foster does not look like. Oh no, that's not. Lamar Miller looks good, of course. Hoping he'll do what he does. In this matchup, I am going to take the Houston Texans to beat the Tennessee Titans. Now the next matchup, the NFC West. Seattle Seahawks, my team, heading to New York to play the New York Jets. Now, Seattle did blow out the Niners, which, again, if you know me, I saw it coming, because come on. I'm still sticking with the prediction that the Niners will not beat the Seattle Seahawks this season. So, can't deny that. And then you have the Jets, who did lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. Fitzpatrick had the worst game of his career. really bad. So, and then with the Seahawks, of course, Russell Wilson did get hurt with an MCL sprain. They had to put Devon Boykin in out of TCU. He did his job as a backup. And I did hear what Pete Carroll saying that he may play on this leg. He may play on this leg, which I don't know if it's a smart idea. I know Russell Wilson's a great dual quarterback, but you're playing against that Jets defense. You're gonna have to move around, and with an MCL sprain, I'm not Pete Carroll. I'm not the Seattle Seahawks. I would easily, if he goes through the walkthrough all the way to Sunday and he's feeling good, okay, play him. But if he's having limited practices all the way to Sunday, don't play him. No offense to Seattle, but do not play him against the Jets. If he's got an MCL sprain and he plays limited, he does limited in practice all the way till Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If it's all limited, it's going to be like a game time decision. But in this matchup, I am going to take the Seattle Seahawks because, come on, to see the Jets continue to lose is the best thing for a Patriots fan. And what could be better than having Seattle beat an AFC East rival in the Jets? So I'm taking the Seahawks to beat the Jets. Now the next matchup, the Detroit Lions heading to Soldier Field to play the Chicago Bears. Now the Detroit Lions did lose to the Green Bay Packers, which they did come back. They were down in that whole game, but they did come back, and of course they lost. Then you have the Chicago Bears, who got blown out by the Dallas Cowboys, and they're 0-3. So this is going to be pretty easy. I am taking the Detroit Lions to beat the Chicago Bears because Detroit does have the more weapons. They won't have. It doesn't look like they're going to have Amir Abdullah for a while. So Theo Riddick, if you're looking for a good player to sign fantasy-wise from Detroit, get Theo Riddick because Theo Riddick will get you some numbers in fantasy. So in this matchup, again, I am going to take the Detroit Lions to beat the Chicago Bears. Now the next matchup, the Carolina Panthers heading to Atlanta to play the Atlanta Falcons. Now Carolina did lose to the Minnesota Vikings, which I'll take that L. I will take that L. I didn't expect Carolina to lose to Minnesota like that. So that was a kind of a surprise. And then you have the Atlanta Falcons who are on top of the NFC South with the big win against Atlanta. They did look good. Tevin Coleman had 3 touchdowns. I mean, the running back, if you had him on fantasy, boy, you hit the jackpot this week. If you won your matchup or you came back from behind to win that matchup, Devin Coleman helped you out. Devin Coleman and Devontae Freeman are going to be those 1-2 punch for Atlanta, and Julio Jones and Matty Ice. In this matchup, okay, now I'm picking Carolina to beat Atlanta. If Carolina does not beat Atlanta this week, I will not pick them this season. So Carolina, this is your last chance. Boy, last chance to prove it to me that I can pick you every week. So I'm taking Carolina to beat Atlanta. Hopefully a win. Hopefully. Now the next matchup. The Oakland Raiders heading to Baltimore to play the Baltimore Ravens. Now the Oakland Raiders did win this week against Tennessee, which was this is the team I want to see do well in the AFC West, which is going to be, they look good. Defense stepped up a lot more this week. Of course, Derek Carr and Amari Cooper did their job. Latavius Murray did their job. Michael Crabtree did their job. And then you have the Baltimore Ravens, who did come back and beat Jacksonville late in the fourth. So, I mean, they do look good. I mean, they do look really good. But coming from me, now this one was tough because, again, no team's going to go undefeated this season. I really don't think no team's going to go undefeated. So this one was my toughest, and if I'm wrong, I'll take this L, but I am going to take the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Oakland Raiders this week. So again, Oakland Raider fans, I am sorry, but this is if I'm wrong, kill me, because I want Oakland to succeed so bad this season. So again, I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Oakland Raiders. God hoping Oakland wins. Baltimore's my pick, but I'm hoping if I lose, I'll take the L. Now the next matchup, the Denver Broncos heading to Florida to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now the Denver Broncos did win over Cincinnati, Trevor Siemian did look good. Demaryius Thomas looked good. C.J. Anderson looked good. Defense looked good. And I am sorry about my snafu I did last week saying Von Miller was hurt. It was DeMarcus Ware that's hurt, that's not playing. So Von Miller is still playing, Denver Broncos fans. So again, that was my mistake last week. So again, minor snafu. Then you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who did lose to the LA Rams, which this was Tampa Bay's last chance with me. So I'm not picking Tampa Bay in this game. I'm taking Denver to beat Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay this was their last chance and they didn't get it done for me. So every week, if Tampa Bay is playing any team, I'm picking against Tampa Bay. Win or lose, I'll take the L or I'll take the win. So I'm taking Denver to beat Tampa Bay. Now, the next matchup, the Dallas Cowboys heading to Santa Clara to play the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the Dallas Cowboys did get a win this week. Did get a win on Sunday Night Football against the Bears. Dak Prescott looked good, as usual. It's Dak Prescott. So Dez Bryant did get hurt, questionable injury. So keep fantasy owners who have Dez Bryant, keep an eye on him all the way up to Sunday. So keep a really good eye on him injury-wise. Zeke Elliott did fantastic. Witten did good. Everybody did good on the Cowboys. Then you have the 49ers who did lose to the Seattle Seahawks. They kind of got exposed. Oh, yeah, the team that beat LA week 1 just got completely exposed by the Seattle defense. They did look good. I mean, they didn't look as good as they were in week 1 against Seattle, but LA, but they still got blown out. And now in this this is a matchup of the NFC East against the NFC West. In this matchup, I am going to take the Dallas Cowboys to beat the San Francisco 49ers because it just makes so much sense. Because Dallas looks like the best team. Looks like the second best team in the East, being Philadelphia Eagles. And again, I'll take that loss last week to Pittsburgh with Philly because Philly surprised me. I know it surprised a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans, but Wentz is the real deal. He's beaten Ben Roethlisberger. He destroyed him. They destroyed him this week. But I digress. I am taking the Dallas Cowboys to beat the San Francisco 49ers. Now the next matchup. The LA Rams heading to Glendale to play the Arizona Cardinals. Now the LA Rams did win another game for their LA franchise over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which was good. And then Arizona actually losing, which they could have won against Buffalo, which they lost, which was surprising. LA does look good. Case Keenum looks good. Tavon Austin, Kenny Britt. Their defense is ridiculous. If you heard my predictions with Seattle and St. Louis, Seattle had trouble with their defense, and that's no lie. They have the talent around them. They have Arizona. Arizona being 1-2 is not surprising. I mean, it is surprising, but it's not surprising as much as you think, which is they could, honestly, I had Arizona pegged to destroy Buffalo, but it went the complete opposite direction, which was surprising. Now, in this matchup, I am going to take the Arizona Cardinals to beat the LA Rams this week. Now, the next matchup, the New Orleans Saints heading to Qualcomm Stadium to play the San Diego Chargers. Now, New Orleans did, of course, get blown out on Monday Night Football, which was kind of surprising. Breeze had 3 touchdowns and they still lost, which was surprising. Then you had the San Diego Chargers, who did lose to the Indianapolis Colts. And, of course, when I talk about the Chargers, I talk about injuries. And they lost Manti Te'o for the year. So let's see it. Keenan Allen week 1. Danny Woodhead week 2. And now their linebacker Manti Te'o for week 3. And of course, Joey Bosa Jr., their draft pick, has not even played yet. So, again, if you have those kind of deep leagues on ESPN with defense, you can play defensive players like Joey Bosa Jr., you better hope he plays, or you better keep your eye on him, because if he doesn't play, San Diego's going to get destroyed this season. And I am going to take the Saints to beat the Chargers this week. And now the Sunday Night Football matchup that goes against TNA Bound for Glory, which I have heard a rumor that they have no money for this pay-per-view. No money for Bound for Glory this Sunday, which is they're going to sell. WWE's going to take it. I wouldn't be surprised if WWE takes TNA here, because if they have no money to even produce Bound for Glory, what's the point? And nothing really else happens on Sunday other than football, of course. With the Kansas City Chiefs heading to Heinz to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs did beat the Jets. They destroyed them at Arrowhead. Looks like it was 27-3. Take away from their defense, and it's usual. And then you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who did get legitimately raped by the Eagles in Philadelphia, in which I know a lot of Eagles fans are gonna love that. They can just gloat about this for 4 years because they won't be playing the Steelers again this season, which is great. And I'll take that L. I was happy for Carson Wentz, but guess who's back again. Bell is back. Tell a friend. Like, Le'Veon Bell is back this week. And if you have Le'Veon Bell on your bench in fantasy, you put his ass in this week. Because it's time to get him some fantasy points. And it's finally time to make him the dominant running back in the NFL. And with Le'Veon Bell being back, it's kind of a no-brainer. I am going to take the Steelers to beat the Chiefs. Because when you have Roethlisberger, Brown, and Le'Veon Bell on your team, you cannot lose. So I'm taking the Steelers over the Chiefs. And now the Monday Night Football matchup that goes against, of course, Monday Night Raw. The New York Giants heading to the Minnesota Vikings' new stadium to play the Minnesota Vikings. Then you have the Giants, who did lose to the Redskins, of course, which was kind of surprising and shocking at the same time, because they could have won that game. And they did lose. Rashad Jennings. I think either Rashad Jennings or Shane Vereen for the year. So they have passing, but they have no more running game. No running game, which hurts, which is huge. Then you have the Minnesota Vikings, who did beat did they beat anybody this week? Miami plays. They did beat Carolina, which was another big win for that team. Again, without Adrian Peterson, which is pretty impressive to say. That, of course, they're 3-0, which is pretty amazing. Of course, pretty amazing without Adrian Peterson. That Sam Bradford's doing the job. He's getting it done. Their defense getting the job. Now, in this matchup, I am going to take the Minnesota Vikings to beat the New York Giants. And those are my Week 4 NFL picks. I hope you enjoyed my picks. Comment below. Who do you have winning this week? I'm always up to a conversation on who do you think is going to win. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.